When we say that jobs are the most important issue and developing skill levels so that folks can get those jobs, it's not simply about an economic contribution. It's part of our being. And the dignity of work has always been part of the American story.
I'm a big believer that the things we all unite in, whether you're Republican, Democrat, whether you're from suburban, urban, rural area, is people want good jobs.
Nobody wants to go to work and just exist, right? You want to go and spend your 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or however much you're spending, and you want to feel like you've made a difference. I think that's a fundamental human need. We all want to be able to make a difference.
Making a difference in the American story of higher education is one century-old institution that first earned a national reputation for the economic contribution it made by connecting skilled men and women with real jobs during the Great Depression. The story of Pennsylvania College of Technology continues to evolve in the 21st century on a campus dedicated to combining education and hands-on experience that can lead graduates to opportunities for success in an ever-changing workforce. For 100 years, the institution's leaders, a railroad mechanic with a PhD, a homegrown draftsman, two of the nation's youngest college presidents, and a woman committed to community engagement, have shared a common mission to offer education that is relevant to real-world needs.
Actors, sports celebrities, the like, newscasters, they're not necessary. They're not necessary professions. People who make things are necessary.
We need individuals with strong math and science skills. We need individuals that can operate in a team. And we need individuals with technical skills.
Things are changing so quickly that can create a gap, especially if we're not able to work closely with academia in order to keep that loop tightly closed.
The single biggest challenge is finding people who are willing to learn a new and useful trade. That's the trick. Gap doesn't close until that happens, and that doesn't happen until perceptions around work start to change.
World War I erupts in Europe. The world's first assembly line produces the Model T Ford. And 20th century industrialization begins to change hometowns around the world. Hometowns like Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where economic prosperity, harvested from natural resources, was disappearing. Pennsylvania topped the nation in lumber production during the second half of the 19th century. Williamsport, nestled along the Susquehanna River, was known as the lumber capital of the world and boasted more millionaires per capita than any other American city. By 1914, Williamsport's neighboring forests were depleted and the lumber era began to wane. Replacing the region's lumber camps and farms were large-scale commercial enterprises that needed educated and skilled workers. A new Williamsport High School, dedicated in November 1914, reflected that need. Tucked in the school basement was an industrial arts shop, believed to be the first of its kind in the state. There, students received hands-on instruction in woodworking and, with an eye toward the future, machining.
Williamsport had one of the best schools for industrial arts in the state.
The Williamsport School District hired Dr. George Parks in 1920 to teach mechanical drawing. He later became director of the district's vocational program.
He was an interesting fella. He only stood about 5'2". And he was very direct. He didn't pull his punches, but there wasn't a mean bone in his body.
Parks earned a mechanical engineering degree from Purdue University and worked on the Pennsylvania Railroad. He was also one of the nation's first certified vocational education teachers. He put that unique combination of education and experience to work in Williamsport's classrooms and shops.
The wood shops, the pattern shop, and the cabinet shop were quite well equipped, even in 1920.
In addition to their shop work, students over the age of 16 were offered a cooperative work-study program where they could gain experience working for local companies while still enrolled in school. Carl Simon was a cooperative education student assigned to work at Williamsport's Darling Valve Foundry. The assignment didn't suit his mother. She complained to Parks about her son working in what she considered to be a dirty hole. Parks convinced her that the experience would benefit her son. He was right. Carl Simon eventually became vice president and general manager of the company where he worked as a student and an expert in the atomic energy valve field.
Following World War I came a problem of retraining veterans, the majority of whom were disabled. This led to the establishment of the first adult day school on a full-time basis in the city of Williamsport. Additional shops were set up in an old building.
They taught in there, they taught automotive mechanics, pattern making, and cabinet making, and drafting and some related things. And we adopted the principle that a day school program, such as existed for high schools, could not be really successful unless it also incorporated an adult program. And the most significant early step we took was when we carried the adult education program into the foreman training program.
Foremanship training represented Parks' first bold move as the leader of Williamsport's vocational program. He sent vocational teachers out of the school and into local factories where they taught workers additional skills they needed to advance into supervisory positions. The program established a lasting bond with industry.
When we started this foremanship training program, the industry suddenly discovered that here was a service that would earn money for them.
Right.
And from then on, we had no further problems with getting the cooperation of industry.
Industry cooperation and the teacher's commitment to providing individual attention to students were keys to advancing Williamsport's program. Parks ensured that his teachers had a vested interest in the students' success.
He had a very simple contract with people that he hired, and that was, your graduates get jobs, you keep your job.
We had the philosophy that every man had a little St. George in him. St. George, of course, made his great reputation by slaying a dragon. And if you want to get along with people, put them in a position to slay a dragon every day.
A dangerous dragon, the Great Depression, confronted the nation in the 1930s. Parks and his faculty felt the pain in their community and set out to confront economic adversity by creating jobs.
I knew numerous people in those days who raised a family on 25 cents an hour. And I say it was a catastrophe which stayed with us. And I think that it made a mark on all of us.
Parks developed a unique plan to hire unemployed local residents to begin construction of a new machine shop at the school.
And the plan was to take unemployed men and to put them to work helping to build what they called Unit 2, the machine shop. And then instead of paying them in cash, they would get a basket of food. which was very important because people suddenly had no way to feed their families. So the basket of food was quite an incentive.
An incentive for growth of Williamsport's vocational program came in the form of a skills gap revealed in a survey of the local job market.
In 1930, the Chamber of Commerce surveyed local industry and discovered that while unemployment was increasing, there was a substantial and increasing shortage of certain skilled tradesmen. The solution was to retrain men from the unemployed ranks to fill these vacancies.
The Williamsport Plan was born. For the next several years, the school worked with local agencies to screen, retrain, and place unemployed workers in essential jobs.
It helped to somewhat solve our unemployment problems because it took a lot of people who had been displaced because they were in business or sales and weren't really prepared for any other kinds of jobs. It took them and retrained them to put them back into the job market. And then beyond that, it served as a model for the entire United States. We were one of the first to actually have a plan in place to match what was needed work-wise with the available laborers.
National media, including the Saturday Evening Post, celebrated Williamsport's retraining initiative and labeled Parks a hero for the working class.
What the Depression did to Williamsport was about what it did to most similarly placed industrial communities. But what Williamsport did to the Depression is a story in the best, though of late unofficial, American tradition. Graduates were giving a good account of themselves in every plant in the city.
Sunday morning, 7 December 1941. The skies over Hawaii erupted in a hail of death and destruction.
Before Japan's surprise attack at Pearl Harbor plunges the United States into World War II, Williamsport's vocational program is called to duty to train defense industry workers. Shops operate 24 hours a day, training men and women to work in plants producing products used by U.S. and Allied forces. The school also offers programs for military personnel. Construction battalions rely on Williamsport to teach blueprint reading and mathematics. And Air Force mechanics trained at the school's new aviation facility.
We had more students attending the adult programs, from about 1940 on, than we had high school students.
Growth of the adult training program led to the creation of Williamsport Technical Institute in 1941, transforming the former high school vocational program into a formal institute offering secondary and post-secondary technical education, solidified Parks' long-term advocacy for blending academics with hands-on instruction.
The technical student, that we called it the two-pants suit, he got his vocational program and then he got his academic preparation on top of it. This fellow would be more likely to become the leader.
Students benefiting from the two-pants suit concept included George Logue. Long before he enrolled at the newly christened Williamsport Technical Institute, the future entrepreneur forged an important connection with one of his neighbors, George Parks.
I was determined that I wanted to come to Tech, Williamsport Tech. So Doc Parks got me in up here to come on Saturdays, and I come up here and took machine shop in the summertime. And I was transferred to Williamsport Tech, and I graduated from here. I went here 2 years.
Logue's love of Caterpillar tractors nearly sidetracked him, if not for some sound advice from Parks.
Well, when I come over the first time, I saw the Caterpillar engine, and that's where I wanted to be, where that Caterpillar engine was. The best advice he ever gave me, he says, George, you're too mechanical for that. You take machine shop first. It's more basic. It's the only thing that can reproduce itself in the world that isn't biological, is a machine shop.
Logue earned an agricultural engineering degree from Penn State, developed 5 patents related to heavy equipment, and created his own successful construction and machining companies. He also built one of the largest collections of Caterpillar tractors and equipment in the world.
A bruised and suffering world stirred again to the triumphant strains of victory. For the soldier, it was the proud end of a long and arduous road.
The end of World War II ushered in changes at Williamsport Technical Institute. No longer focused on immediate war production training needs, WTI encouraged long-term career possibilities for students. The secondary program grew to include school districts outside of Williamsport, and veterans, taking advantage of the GI Bill, flocked to campus for post-secondary technical education.
Right after the war, Dr. Parks was able to get surplus war material of every description.
If I wanted, let's say, a particular machine, Dr. Parks would say, there's a military surplus store down in Harrisburg. You may want to go down and check them out.
Other surplus items had to be trucked or flown in, such as bulldozers used to develop a heavy construction equipment program, and the Eager Beaver B-17 bomber, acquired to enhance aviation maintenance instruction. WTI's founding director was an established national leader in vocational education when he was promoted to the position of superintendent of the Williamsport School District. Parks' commitment to the working class had matched the institute with the needs of the individual, community, and nation, a legacy his successors could build upon.
Teaching has got to be experiential, it's got to be evolving.
I think higher education, in order to meet the challenges of today's workforce, really does need more real-life experience for the students.
Following Parks at the helm of WTI was one of his former students, Kenneth Carl, who used his two-pants-suit education to advance from draftsman to teacher to administrator.
Kenny was a dynamic individual who loved this place probably as much or more than Dr. Parks did, who was one of the founders.
Dr. Carl, of course, carried on the philosophy of Dr. Parks. And that philosophy needed updating, as he will tell you.
I'd say that he was, while he was not that much older than we were, he probably was in his late 20s at the time, but we respected what he knew because he had been not only at Penn State, but he had some experience of drafting.
As a drafting instructor, Carl saw an opportunity to open his program to students with disabilities. This simple, compassionate act led the Institute to develop a program that explored the abilities of disabled individuals, a program that became a national model.
No one seemed to know anything about training handicapped. And of course, in drafting, I didn't see any reason why any handicap would be involved.
Under Carl's leadership, WTI advanced the nation's first comprehensive vocational diagnostic program to help men and women with disabilities navigate career and educational choices. The program had a significant national impact in the 1950s when the United Mine Workers sent many disabled workers to Williamsport for vocational assessment and counseling.
Many have never been out of a mine, and the guy would say, I want to be a heavy equipment operator. So you might put him in heavy equipment. He also thought maybe he'd make a good draftsman because that won't affect his lungs. Or maybe he should be in electronics. So you'd put him in these different shops. The United Mine Workers were very happy with the program, particularly if the fellows got trained, because then they could take them off their retirement rolls or sick rolls, and these fellows were free. Instead of mine workers paying $100 or $200 disability, they become productive citizens.
Maintaining its focus on addressing emerging workplace needs, the Institute introduced programs related to healthcare and computer programming in the early 1960s, while continuing its emphasis on technical programs.
One day, Dr. Carl comes walking down the hall and taps, and I will talk to you. He told me about this plan that the college has the opportunity to obtain a computer. I said, boy, that, Dr. Carl, that's a wonderful program. He says, now what do you know about computers? So I had one course. I had one course in my graduate work. He responded very quickly, you know, that's more than anybody else in this college has. You're our man.
People all over the country knew Williamsport Technical Institute. You know, you couldn't find aircraft mechanics or electricians or machinists anywhere that you could find here.
It had a very strong reputation. Oh, there was the typical attitude problem with some students that looked down their nose on the kids that were taking the technical courses, but that was just stupidity. Those guys were very happy with what they were doing, and they were getting good training.
WTI's hands-on training pleased local businesses and major industries such as the M.W. Kellogg Company, a firm that placed an advertisement in the Wall Street Journal praising Williamsport Technical Institute.
We have found in Williamsport a reservoir of skilled workmen who have met the extremely high standards required for this type of work. Many of these men have improved their natural skills by taking courses at the Williamsport Technical Institute.
As workforce needs grew more complex, Carl wanted to establish a pathway for the Institute's students to advance their education beyond a vocational certificate. His doctoral thesis at Penn State focused on creating such new opportunities throughout Pennsylvania, whose governor was a proponent of the idea.
Bill Scranton was governor, and one of his prime interests was establishing a community college system.
Inspired by his graduate work and subsequent research, Carl helped write the 1963 Community College Act. 2 years later, Williamsport Technical Institute became Williamsport Area Community College, an associate degree granting institution. Williamsport was one of the first community colleges established in the state and the only one specializing in technical education.
While it wasn't a four-year degree, it was a part way there, and they could still keep on going if they wanted to.
Williamsport Area Community College faced transitional pains. Some, like scarce financial resources for campus refurbishment and expansion, trace back decades. Others were fresh, an infusion of liberal arts faculty to teach core subjects such as English, math, and science brought a new perspective to campus.
There was the liberal arts faculty and there was the applied arts faculty, and to be very frank, there is some friction because things were changing at the college and some of the old timers did not endorse some of those changes.
The applied faculty, technical faculty, thought that everything that was happening on the other side of the street was a total waste of time. And there was. I mean, constant bickering back and forth. We're taken away from what they need, blah, blah, blah.
Carl remained convinced that the long-term benefits as a community college outweighed any shortcomings.
It took care of many more students that were interested in other programs
not technical in nature.
The academic side began to add more academic classes to the two-year technical programs, and I think that was a plus for those programs to get a little more well-rounded education than what they were getting before.
Probably the most important development during the time of our moving into a community college status was the accreditation process. In other words, how does it measure up to a given standard for community colleges? And that opened our eyes to the fact that we had a long ways to go.
The college was granted accreditation in 1970. By that time, the college acquired the academic building it had shared with Williamsport High School, opened a new automotive technology center, and received several hundred acres of land from the federal government. There, an additional campus emerged dedicated to forestry, horticulture, and other earth sciences. A 1971 study commissioned by the Pennsylvania Department of Education validated Carl's efforts and the new community college's unique mission. It found that Williamsport produced almost as many skilled workers for the trade and industry fields as all other community colleges in the state combined.
I think he probably had a vision that he saw what the community college could do for this place, and that maybe it had reached its limits as a technical institute, and with the community college movement was smart enough to get us in on the ground floor, and a great tribute to him that we did.
Carl's 21-year leadership tenure bridged idyllic post-war America and the turbulent 60s. During that time, he advanced the school's mission that originated in humble vocational shops in 1914 and was molded by his mentor, George Parks, during the depths of the Great Depression.
It would have been difficult to find a more qualified successor to George Parks than Kenny Carl. Deeply understood the importance of having vocational education, and certainly didn't differentiate and say, well, this is better than that and that sort of. Education is education is education.
What we need to make sure that community and technical colleges and higher education focuses on is creating a flexible, adaptable technical worker. You're not training them for a job, you're training them for a career.
It's not just enough to understand how things work or to be able to make things. You have to understand sort of the sociology of how they'll be used. You have to be able to sell your idea. You have to convince people that you've got a good approach. And so communication skills are absolutely key.
Across the nation and in Williamsport, social unrest and economic uncertainty followed the 1960s.
The college had gone through a very difficult time financially. There was an economic downturn. There was a drop in anticipated enrollment. There was a shortfall in the budget of significant proportions for that time. It was also reflecting the tone of the college dynamic changing in who were part of the college.
The philosophical barrier separating liberal arts and applied arts faculty continued to shape that dynamic.
Much of that tension probably reflected society, in that vocational education was viewed as working class related, and academic education was viewed as middle class.
But the two camps would soon unite. Faculty reported for the fall 1973 semester with an expired contract. 2 months later, they went on strike. Technical and liberal arts teachers became one on the picket line.
Let's say you have two gangs and you want to bring them together. It's not just to get them to know each other. It's to deal with a common problem. And we all were dealing with a common problem. That is our contract, our salary, our rights, our benefits, etc., and the future of the college.
After 3 weeks, the administration settled with the faculty union and classes resumed. The agreement established parity between teaching loads for lab and lecture-based instruction and increased salary and benefits. Perhaps most importantly, the experience and fight formed a bond among the teachers.
For the first time, we weren't applied arts and liberal arts. We were a faculty that had to be reckoned with.
It was a pivotal point for the college.
Following the strike, Williamsport Area Community College hired a new president, William Feddersen. The 33-year-old became one of the nation's youngest college presidents when he accepted the top post in 1974.
I knew it was a very solid college. Maybe they were going through some tough times, but tough times don't last forever. And I knew, they were obviously looking for new leadership.
The new president faced a $600,000 budget deficit, a strained relationship between faculty and the administration, and a decaying physical plant.
He really viewed all these things not as problems, which they certainly were, but he viewed them as opportunities. And he felt he could make a difference. And he did.
I made major changes in the budget in two weeks. Reorganized the college in 2 weeks.
Feddersen clustered departments into what are now known as academic schools and addressed the college's heavily used but substandard facilities in the new long-range plan.
The facilities were poor, but they were former industrial facilities, and sometimes we couldn't find time to clean the rooms for the custodians. We were running a secondary program in the morning, post-secondary in the afternoon where there was the duplicate programs, and we had adult education and part-time students in the evening, and we'd have some programs for industry after midnight.
Feddersen secured approval for the construction of 3 buildings dedicated to a library and hands-on instruction. He addressed workforce needs with new majors like dental hygiene and established a developmental studies program to assess and assist students deficient in math or English.
I would say under Bill Feddersen's leadership, we really began to become a true academic, comprehensive community college.
A college serving not only those seeking technical careers, but also students hoping to establish the foundation for further education. Students like Tom Marino.
I was fortunate enough to live in a city that had the premier school that I needed at that particular time in my life.
A former factory worker, Marino grew tired of being passed over for promotions because he didn't have a college degree. At the age of 30, he enrolled at Williamsport Area Community College, eyeing a legal career.
It was probably the best move I've made in my life.
After earning his associate's degree in general studies, Marino obtained his bachelor's degree and graduated from law school. He was elected Lycoming County District Attorney and eventually appointed U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Pennsylvania. He went on to become a United States Representative, serving the 10th District of Pennsylvania in Congress.
I would not be where I'm at today if it were not for Williamsport Area Community College, Penn College. That's where I got the basics of my education.
And education is the key to anybody's future, and the community colleges open that door widely to everyone.
Feddersen carried that philosophy with him when he became president of a California college in 1980. The self-described ambitious change agent left Williamsport Area Community College with an enrollment on the upswing, an $800,000 budget surplus, and construction projects underway.
The past is important and the history is important, but you have to always have an eye on what's going on today and what you're building for tomorrow, for the future.
Where before you can live a whole generation and still use the technology, now you're lucky if you can get through the year.
You need to have a fundamental understanding of technology. You can't approach technology fearfully. And so the more people who train in STEM at any level, right, any level, the more people who have that sort of basic vocabulary and skill set are better equipped to do anything in society.
The early 1980s marked the beginning of a revolution, a digital revolution. Personal computers flood the marketplace. Industrial robots enhance the manufacturing sector. And Williamsport Area Community College prepares to address the seismic change in technology under a new president, Dr. Robert Bruder.
He was a brilliant guy, and he was just exactly the right man during those years.
The Queens native began his career teaching junior high in New York. Later, he earned a PhD in higher education administration and served as a key official at a Florida community college. At age 36, he was one of the youngest college presidents, just like William Feddersen before him. However, Bruder's management style was different than his predecessors.
I was impatient. I knew where we needed to go. I wanted to get there quickly. I expected people to run as hard and as fast as I was willing to run.
And so he stepped on many toes in his determination to get things accomplished.
Even those who disagreed with him over the years, I think, have to admit he was a man of tremendous vision. He could see opportunity, where sometimes the rest of us might have feared the risk. He saw the opportunity, and he was willing to take it.
It had a great reputation in vocational and technical education. I mean, I don't know that it had any competition equal to it in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, so that was certainly something to build off of.
Before building, there was much to tear down when it came to the college's physical plant.
I've never seen anything quite like it, even until this day. I can go back and remember that first walk on campus and the 3 buildings that were, for all intents and purposes, condemned.
As Bob Bruder would characterize it, this place has zero curb appeal. And he was right.
Bruder began dismantling dilapidated buildings and replacing them with facilities that addressed emerging high-tech education and training needs. The Unit 6 building topped his demolition list. Erected in 1913, it housed classrooms and administrative offices.
It was a huge brick building, which was the former trolley barn of the city of Williamsport. When Dr. Bruder came aboard, he wasn't there too long, and he was going to tear down Unit 6 come hell or high water.
While the community college focused on improving campus facilities, relations with sponsoring school districts deteriorated.
You have to have a local taxing body provide 1/3 of the tuition of the residents of that taxing body area. In our case, we had the 20 school districts in 10 counties that we had to go out and ask for budget approval, even though they contributed less than 15% of the operating budget.
It was a nightmare. 20 school districts, there's 9 members on each school board, so that's 180 people that you had to take the budget.
Eventually, by 1985, just before then, they didn't want to continue sponsorship. They were on hard times financially, didn't want to support grades 13 and 14 anymore, and we got that and understood it. So we eventually would have to find another parent, so to speak. I think we were right on the edge on more than one occasion, and it was really the 12th hour when the city of Williamsport stepped up.
Williamsport agreed to become a temporary sponsor to keep the college afloat. However, only city residents received the tuition discount previously available to students from the 20 school districts.
When that happened, we took a tremendous dive in our enrollment, and of course with that, revenue. So that was the most critical year. We almost hemorrhaged and bled to death that year because we lost significant enrollment because of the change in sponsorship.
In the midst of the sponsorship crisis, Bruder made a daring decision that would define his presidency and shape the college's future. He championed the construction of an advanced technology and health sciences center to prepare students for technical career opportunities beyond the 20th century.
Robotics, laser technology, plastics, polymers, automated manufacturing, fiber optics. These were all in his head.
It wasn't the building, but it was what it represented. We wanted this to be a first-class institution with technology as its reason for being.
When we were looking to build it, we needed money. And I went then to Lycoming County and asked them for $5 million. I thought they would choke. At the same time, we were in the throes of the sponsorship crisis, and we were talking literally about the possibility of Williamsport Area Community College going out of business. So I'm sure there were people in the community who looked at me and said, who is this guy? He's crazy.
On one hand, we're talking about the college is going to close, and on the other hand, we're building this 150,000 square foot building.
Well, Bob was so dedicated to making the college what it's become that a little thing like sponsorship wasn't going to stand in his way.
Lycoming County Commissioners gave me the $5 million, so we took the $5 million plus money we had and some money from the state, and we built the Advanced Technology and Health Sciences Center. We put in that building flagship programs that we could bring people in, show them what we were doing, what we were capable of doing, and that would again continue to garner the support we needed to continue to build out.
The new facility impressed industry giants like IBM. The company praised the college's commitment to a high-tech future in its Viewpoint magazine.
North Central Pennsylvania's allure for major new employers was feeble at best. Only the International Little League Championship regularly kept Williamsport in the public eye. The faculty and administration of the Williamsport Area Community College are changing the scenario, and they're doing it in an innovative way that marries a rich appreciation of tradition to a visionary commitment to a high-tech future.
The college's high-tech commitment proved essential after the city of Williamsport sent notice that it could no longer afford sponsorship.
People in the local community, nor many people at the college, realized how very close we came to closing this institution.
We were fighting time and trying to find somebody that could see the same vision we could see.
While serving on a local bank's board of directors, Bruder became intrigued with mergers, which were prevalent in the banking industry. He wondered if merging with another educational institution could offer a permanent solution to the college's perpetual sponsorship dilemma.
If you're going to get a deal done and you're going to merge, then merge with someone who can bring something to the table, who can bring something to then Williamsport Area Community College. So where else but Penn State University?
Bruder dispatched a team of local legislators to float the merger idea with Penn State executives.
They weren't really that interested in what we were talking about. Well, finally, we were trying to explain we weren't in any financial trouble. We didn't want their money. We were perfectly capable of taking care of ourselves. Their whole attitude changed. It was almost like a miracle. They sort of sat up in their seats, began to ask questions, and to make a long story short, that was the beginning of serious discussions.
Those discussions prompted Penn State officials to visit Williamsport Area Community College and its new centerpiece, the Advanced Technology and Health Sciences Center.
They came, they were impressed. We had equipment and processes they didn't have at Penn State.
That was the beginning of when they went back and they said, this is a deal we ought to be doing. The one thing we wanted, though, was to maintain our independence, our individuality. We didn't want to be absorbed inside the framework of Penn State. We didn't want to become a branch campus or the College of Technology inside Penn State.
If they wanted us to be an agent that could react quickly to the needs of the state of Pennsylvania, then we had to maintain our curriculum in this process.
Penn State's the mothership. We're these little fighters that can get out there and move around.
On July 1st, 1989, Pennsylvania Governor Robert Casey signed legislation creating Pennsylvania College of Technology as a special mission affiliate of Penn State, with its own curriculum, board of directors, and president.
It was a rebirth of the college. It gave us our second chance, and I believe would lead to great things.
The affiliation led to baccalaureate degrees and on-campus student housing, making applied technology education more attractive to traditional college prospects.
Without Bob Bruder, we would have never been a candidate for consideration. I mean, can you imagine what it would have been like if these people from Penn State had come here in 1981? They would have said, we want no part of this disaster, just looking at the physical plan. So Bob Bruder enabled the discussion to take place.
Transforming the college while maintaining its fundamental commitment to hands-on education secured Bruder's legacy long before he left Williamsport in 1997 and assumed the presidency of an Illinois college.
It really was the love of my life. It really was a young man getting an opportunity to paint a canvas. And I was fortunate to have had 17 years to try to paint that canvas that was never going to be done. No canvas, no painting is ever done. So when I left, there was still work to be done.
CEOs across the country sing the same tune. They're very afraid of the lack of skilled workers.
The whole thing is so upside down. You got $1 trillion in student debt. You got kids who starting their careers 60 grand in the hole, trained for jobs that don't exist. Madness. Pointing that out resonates with parents, it resonates with kids.
I do believe that our nation's community and technical schools sit at the heart of solving the skills gap problem.
The information technology era encapsulates the late 1990s. The internet grows at an exponential rate. Industry is driven more by information and computerization and less by labor. Pennsylvania College of Technology embraces this change with a new president, Dr. Davy Jane Gilmore, the first woman to lead the institution.
I grew up believing that the best person gets the job, the person who has the best skills and abilities. And I've never seen gender in that respect. And so, you know, I respect the fact that it's a milestone for women that I became the first woman president. But I became the president.
Gilmore was the first faculty member hired for the college's new dental hygiene program in 1977. She steadily advanced in administrative roles before assuming the presidency in 1998.
She brings an understanding of every aspect of the institution to play as president. I said, we'll be hard-pressed to find somebody in the future that will have that understanding.
Davy focused on making us part of the community and restoring a focus on the human element.
She communicates very well with all segments of this community. Her involvement in the community organizations has brought a great deal of reputation to the college.
Gilmore served on the Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commission on Post-Secondary Education, recommending strategies for ensuring the state's education system is capable of meeting contemporary workplace needs.
The only way that this institution, from its very beginning till today, has been able to be responsive to business and industry, responsive to community needs, responsive to workforce needs, is to be agile.
Penn College remains agile through the development of new associate and bachelor degree programs that meet emerging career needs in a wide range of fields. From automotive restoration to engineering technologies, and web and interactive media to computer gaming and simulation.
Not only do you have a fancy whiz-bang automotive lab or collision repair lab or welding lab, but we really believe that the key to your education is your general education foundation and critical thinking, problem solving, mathematical skills. And so we have to live up to that.
A state-of-the-art library reflects the college's commitment to addressing the information-driven reality of the 21st century. And the transformation of a former furniture factory into a technology-infused instructional facility provides opportunities for growth in advanced programs. And the former Williamsport High School building might resemble its 1914 appearance on the outside, but a refurbished interior provides a rich learning environment for general education classes that prepare students for success in an ever-changing workplace. In recent years, the college has moved swiftly to become a national leader, offering training initiatives for the natural gas industry when a vast reservoir of natural gas was discovered in Pennsylvania.
Penn College is at the central part of this whole development, and we responded very rapidly to the request from the industry.
We have a responsibility to make sure that this great natural resource we have is done right and managed correctly. So how better to do that than to provide the safety training and the educational foundation for the workforce?
Our entire focus is training a workforce. So I think that we always need to have people out there that know what's going on in industry and be able to orient our programs towards that field. And I think as long as we do that, this institution will be very successful.
We used to say we want to be the premier college of Pennsylvania, the premier technical institute. Well, I think we ought to think more nationally. There aren't many Penn colleges in this country who do the work we do.
I think I would say that my pride comes from our responsiveness and our agility again to meet the needs of the Commonwealth, meet the needs of business and industry, meet the needs of the workplace, and meet the needs of the nation. We have different challenges and different opportunities, but this place will go on forever, and there'll be new leaders, and there will be new marks of distinction, and there'll be new significant accomplishments, and we haven't even thought of them yet.
You know, work is great, but meaningful work, that's the thing that people really aspire to.
I think higher education is at the front end of change here in this country. And in fact, it's recognized that it's not just theory-based learning, but it's in fact hands-on learning and how you apply that theory in practice.
And Penn College is one of the keys to open that locked door, the door behind which is an economic future that has its foundation in a high skill level.
Using the academia to create the curriculum that matches the workforce that's needed now in the economy. And I think that's what it does, and it's critical to the future of the Commonwealth and the country.
We can look forward to the next 100 years. But literally, though, in the next, we won't have to wait 100 years to see the value, the importance, the necessity of having institutions like Penn College.